But I call Greensboro because nobody knows where Whitsett is.
Whitsett's one of those words you can't spell neither.
Whitsett is where I learned to fly.
And
Wow.
so, well, we're glad you got here because it's an adventure trying to drive over on a Friday evening on the interstate. But glad to have you back in the studio. And as you know, I'd like to just jump in with a song. So whatever you'd like to play, we'd love to hear.
All right. Well, I'm going to start out with a fairly new one. It's called The Quiet Part. Bend my boot inside my mouth, scream my soul across my tongue. Another day I'll be heading out where the wind and snow has just begun. Phoning in and out of love, never knowing was the one. I was caught up in the moment. I couldn't stand to hear the silence. I was counting down the reasons, one by one. When I said I need you, I guess I said the quiet part out loud. I put my heart out on my sleeve. I burn myself where you can see. Another word, and you'll be gone for good. Where the sun and rain was just undone, falling in and out of love, never knowing if you were the one. I was caught up in the moment. I couldn't stand to hear the silence. I was counting down the reasons, one by one. When I said I love you, I guess I said the quiet part out loud. I was caught up in the moment. I couldn't stand to hear the silence. I was counting down the reasons, one by one. When I said I love you, I guess I said the quiet part out loud. If losing my best friend was the cost, maybe I deserve this. I'll pay the price. If losing my best friend was the cost, maybe I deserve this, I guess. Pay the price.
Russell Henderson live here on Pass the Hat, y'all, and you're going to want to learn more, and you do that by going to russellhendersonmusic.com. Russell has 2 S's and 2 L's. That's important.
It is important.
So, Bob, I'm not sure I don't think we've had a baritone guitar in the studio
That's a big old guitar
in all
over
these
there.
years, have we?
I had to go out in the other room just because it was blowing me away in here.
Russell, tell us, what is a baritone guitar?
So it's a jumbo-sized acoustic guitar that has a slightly longer neck. It uses a slightly heavier gauge of strings, and it's tuned lower, like a low B below the normal E string on a guitar. So it's basically like an octave below the normal 7th fret of a guitar. So
Really
Guitar
nice.
Scale lengths are usually 23 inches or so. That one looks like it's 25 or 26 or
it's
so.
probably, I don't know the exact, but it's probably like 27 or.
Yeah, it's a long
It's
scale
a
length.
very long neck.
Scales are 24.5 to 25.5.
Good job.
And depending, and so that's and so is that special strings you have to buy for that?
Yeah, you have to buy a special set of strings for it. The low E string is like the lightest gauge string that you would normally have for the highest string on a bass guitar.
Wow. Very cool. It sounds wonderful.
It's a very interesting thing. I always wanted one. I was fascinated with the magic secret weapon of the Beatles back in the 60s was the Fender Bass 6, which was basically a baritone electric guitar, and was fascinated with those, and I wanted to buy one. I played several, wasn't convinced by it, and then I had a chance to play a baritone acoustic, and I was like, oh my gosh, it just sounds so deep and robust and just lovely. And so I kept talking about it, and I asked my lovely wife, Stephanie, she asked what I wanted for Christmas, and I want a baritone guitar, and she bought one for me. So
And this is Alvarez. Is that what it is?
it's an Alvarez, yeah.
Really nice. Well, you want to move on to your music as quickly as we can, but you had mentioned that last song was something pretty new. Is this a prolific time for you in your songwriting?
It has been. I've had a lot of great ideas that have popped up. I feel very inspired when I pick up the instrument, but I've had a hard time finishing things here recently because of a lot of other things going on in life, and I've been working a lot. So I have a whole lot of little nuggets of songs that aren't fully fleshed out yet, but I've written probably 5 new songs in the last 6 or 7 months.
That's pretty good. Well, we're going to talk more about your songwriting process in a minute, but what do you have for us next?
So I think since I've got the baritone out, I'm going to play a couple more songs on it before I switch to an easier to play instrument. But last year, I got married in October of last year to
Congratulations.
Stephanie. Thank you very much.
And condolences, Stephanie.
And when I did that, I inherited a 15-year-old.
Ooh.
That makes life interesting.
So I, for the first time in my life, I'm a father, and it's to a teenage boy. I didn't get any of the ramp up to teenagedom. I just got plopped in the middle of it.
You get the angst.
I get all of the angst and all of the heartbreak and the everything is the biggest deal possible. And I love him. His name's Noah. He is just the absolute best kid on earth. But he's doing the things that normal teenage boys do, right? You know, he's falling in love for the first time.
Ouch.
He's trying to make friends and experiencing all those social anxieties and the things that happen to you when you're that age. And
Getting arrested for the first time.
fortunately not. That's 17.
Oh,
Not
sorry.
15.
Sorry. I was thinking he might be advanced. I don't know.
No, he is not advanced in that way, but it really got me thinking about to that time in my life and watching the things that he was going through and the things that I went through at the same time period. And so I wrote a song about it, and it's called The Fool. So I'm going to play that for you guys.
Yay.
It's my fault, it always is, and I'm the one to take the blame. There's nothing wrong, there never is. It's just the nature of the game, and I played it so well. Still I'm on the bench, trying so hard to figure out the rules. If it's my turn, oh, it never is, I'll give the wheel one more spin, and I'll pray that I win. Still I'm holding my breath, just like my cards. I play them so close to my chest. I'm painting my heart onto my sleeve, where everyone else can see I'm the fool. But I was wrong, I always am. In the end, it doesn't matter if I'm the one or I'm the fool. It doesn't seem to be much difference. I'm always on the outside, I'm always looking in, trying to find a secret to help me fit in. I want to belong, I want to believe, I want to be part of something bigger than me. Still I'm holding my breath, just like my cards. I play them so close to my chest. I'm painting my heart onto my sleeve, where everyone else can see I'm the fool. I played myself the fool. I'm not okay, I will be fine. That's the beauty of my disguise.
Another fantastic song from Russell Henderson of russellhendersonmusic.com.
Thank you.
Really liked that one. That was nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've had two great songs so far.
Disguise, that's your next vocabulary word, because that's a really hard word to spell.
I
It's
before ye,
short.
except after you, before I, except after. I don't remember. It's something
Except
weird
we
like
don't pronounce it like it's written
that.
at
This
all.
is true. But back to songwriting, and I bring this up because Kirk and I were in the back room just a few minutes ago talking about songwriting and the joy and the agony of co-writing with somebody else, and that songs can be super deeply personal things, and that trying to co-write with somebody is super difficult. That sounded like a fairly deeply personal song. Is that where most of your song inspiration comes from, and how does it then transform into a song?
So a lot of times when I write, I write music first, and so I end up doing like nonsense lyrics a lot of times. I'd say probably 75 to 80% of all my songs start out as some music or melody in my head, and I just, whatever words pop in my head, and then eventually maybe one or two of them will stick or a phrase sticks, and then the song will get sculpted out of that. But there are those rare songs that are just absolutely something I want to say, where I write the lyrics first. And that was one of those songs where I wrote the lyrics first and then wrote music
Fascinating.
for the lyrics. I have a lot of friends that write songs lyrics first and then music, or write them at the same time. For me, that's not a common thing. I always end up with words, for the most part, that truly mean something to me, but often they come as a secondary thing after everything else is already there.
And we've asked similar question of most of our guests over 9 years, is it now, Kirk, on Pass the Hat? And it seems like it's about 50-50 of folks who are just poets at heart, and they're words, and then they're going to put it to music later, and others who are, they just hear a sound, they hear a melody in their head, and they have to get that down, and they're doing just like you and singing nonsense lyrics just to get the rhythm.
Yeah.
And then you put words to that emotion somehow.
Yeah. And so, sometimes songs will stick around for years before they actually get real words to them, and they'll just be out there hanging off in the background. Like I have one now that I wrote the melody for it probably 8 months ago, and I finally, the words finally came for the chorus to it, and the chorus is there, and I've been struggling with words for verses to fit the power of the chorus for months now, and I'm just not there, and I'm super pleased with what's going on, but can't get it done.
Now, when you say just they're just hanging out there, they're not just in your brain somewhere, right? You actually have them written down or recorded or something?
No, most of the time they're just in my brain somewhere, hanging around, waiting for them to come back out to the right.
I forget what I had for breakfast. How am I going to remember a song?
I do too. I forget what I had for breakfast. I forget very important things. They're very meaningful to me, but they're just gone. But then a melody that I came up with a year ago or 2 years ago will just pop back in my head when the right moment comes. So,
all right,
really cool to hear you talk about your songwriting process. And Bob, it's kind of nice that different songwriters have different approaches to these things, and it's and then all these great songs emerge. And we've been privileged every Friday to be here. And
super lucky.
Yep. Russell, how about next?
Well, so there's one other way that songs come, and that's in dreams.
Oh, I was going to say theft, but okay, dreams.
Well, so I'm pretty sure
called
that
plagiarism.
I'm pretty sure that most of the dream songs probably are some form of plagiarism or theft, because you don't really know where they came from. You wake up and they're there.
Hey, you're just tapping into something
somewhere. And so I wrote this song down after I woke up. It was complete. Every single line of the song, every single chord change, it was all there. I woke up with it in my head.
Nice.
I wrote it all down, and then I played it for half a dozen people.
What did that feel like when you woke up? That had to be
very bizarre.
Scary.
It's a very bizarre feeling.
It's nice that you grabbed it and wrote it down.
Write that
because
down now.
Those things can disappear like
very, very quickly. I've had this happen many, many times in my life, and I very rarely can get all of it. I get some of it, but not all of it, or I get none of it. Like I just can't quite get it down fast enough. In this case, yeah, I was lucky enough to get it all down, and so I played it for half a dozen people. It was like, what is this song? What is this song? Somebody tell me what I stole. And nobody could really, they're like, well, it's similar to this, or there's this, that, or the other. So I wrote this song. It's called In Between. And I'll let you guys decide. If it's something, please let me know what it is so I can stop playing it. I had a dream that I was a bird, but I couldn't bring myself to fly. There's always something on my wings that kept me grounded down with you. But now you are gone, and I'm left here on my own to figure out these dreams and who I am on my own. When I'm in between your memory and me. I had a dream that I was a tree, but I couldn't remember how to bloom. There's always something in my leaves that kept me falling down for you. But now you are gone, and I'm left here on my own to figure out these dreams and who I am all alone. I'm in between your memory and me. And all these dreams are nightmares, they're seldom coming true. And all I want is another chance to find myself alone with you. here on my own to figure out these dreams and who I am alone. In between your memory and me. But I had a dream that I was the ocean, but I never found myself that deep.
I don't know what that is other than a damn good song, Russ.
Well, thank you.
Mercy.
Really interesting, trying to follow those different structures in that song, and so I'm wondering, Russ, when you so you started out with those three chords, and then all of a sudden that song took us to entirely different, like a B part or something. You're going up and a different thing, and then you had the instrumental part that was different still. So how does that happen when you're writing a song that, because it'd be easy just to stick with da 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 da. I had a dream. It's just that, I mean, like, and just do that for 3 minutes and I'm done. But you went 3 or 4 different places in that.
Yeah, so one of my biggest inspirations in music is Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. And so I've always tried to make music interesting. And if you listen to any of the classic records, there's an A part, there's a B part, there's a C part, and often there's a D and an E. Like there's all these different things, and they're all rooted in the same, chord structure or melody, or sometimes the harmony takes over. It's the harmony to the first part takes over as the lead in the second part, and so when I write songs, I try my best to make it interesting.
Because you've done this now for quite a while and you've been real successful at it. So does that come natural in your songwriting? I expect when first time that strikes you, I better go to a B part, like you're sort of conscious, you've thought about it. Right. But now is it just sort of, as the songs are emerging, it sort of takes you there naturally?
At this point, I think it just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Very seldom do I consciously do that, like look for somewhere to go to. It often just comes out. For a long time, it was very popular. There was a point in time in music where it was very popular to have key changes. You had the upswing at the end where everything went up, know, and I always had a really hard time with that. And at some point it clicked, like how to do that. And once it did, once it clicked how to do that and not make it seem forced, it just started happening often.
That's good. It's a lot easier than just stopping in the middle of a song and moving your capo.
Yeah, most certainly.
I think Russ is ready to play another song.
I've definitely got more in me, that's for sure.
And we got another Alvarez, and this one's a real pretty one. Yeah,
so I'm going to switch guitars. This is another Alvarez. That's all I play acoustic guitar-wise. Alvarez and Alvarez Uris. So I'm going to play an acoustic version of a song I wrote about 2 years ago. It's called Where I Say No, and it's about those all too common toxic relationships where it's the, I love you, I hate you, I can't stand you, don't leave me type relationships. And there's a full rock band recording of this. I think I snuck it onto the playlist that I gave you for later tonight, so maybe we can play that for folks later if they want to hear the full version of it. I was lucky enough to have the very talented John Gillespie come in and play guitar and sing, or play bass and sing some chorus stuff with it on there. But I'm going to play the acoustic version for you. It's called Where I Say No. Spin me up, you shut me down. A broken record spinning round and around. You tell your stories, I tell mine. But everyone's another line in the sand. The wind sweeps them up, the tide takes them out. But I guess I thought that's what true love was all about. This is the part where you say stay. I can't live without your love, but I'm tired of all these games that you play. This is the part where I say no. I finally found my voice, and it's all that I can say. I'm better off without you anyway. You heat me up, but then you put me on ice. But shame on me, you fooled me once, you fooled me twice. Now I can't stand for all you've made me lie down. You fill my sails again just to run me aground. This inconsistency, it's as stable as you. The dissonance between what you say and what you do. This is the part where you say stay. I can't live without your love, but I'm tired of all these games that you play. This is the part where I say no. I finally found my voice, it's all that I can say. I'm better off without you anyway. I'm better off without you anyway. I don't know how we got this far, or why we ever thought that it would last. This knockdown, drag out, bipolar love. This is the part where you say stay. I can't live without your love, but I'm tired of all these games that you play. This is the part where I say no. I finally found my voice, it's all that I can say. Better off without you anyway. This is the part where I say stay. I can't live without your love, but I'm tired of all these games that you play. This is the part where you say no. I finally found my voice, and it's all that I can say. I'm better off without you anyway.
Everybody, we are here on Pass the Hat, enjoying our time with Russell Henderson tremendously. It is about the top of the hour, Bob, so we are WHUP LP Hillsboro. And we are so fortunate to have an Hour 2 sponsor. And Russell, we have a little box there on the table, if you'd be so kind as to hold that up. And Bob, what is that?
Well, I'll tell you what that is. Support for this second hour of Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthews Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. And let's face it, we all have chocolate needs. You have to wash down the pollen with something, right?
Exactly.
Every guest on Pass the Hat gets a gift of chocolate from Matthews, handcrafted, handmade, fantastic chocolate, which Russell's just going to open and eat the whole thing right now.
Oh my goodness.
Remember, your wife's here.
Oh my goodness. This is going to be dangerous.
Yep, it's all super good stuff. And y'all get over to Matthews and buy all of the chocolate. It is Easter, next Sunday? Do not expect to go in there next Friday and get all of your Easter chocolate, because he's a one-man shop running a little chocolate shop in this burgeoning metropolis of Hillsboro, and you should have ordered your Easter chocolate last week. But if you show up in the next few days, he's continually making new stuff, more fantastic stuff. I walked over this afternoon. The shop was looking nice, good chocolate in the place. He's got the gelato machine working. Just go by and get your Easter chocolate like tonight, tomorrow, and everything will be good.
If anyone can, the Candyman can.
Oh, you better believe it.
Everybody, tonight's show, as always, the audio is being aired on WHUPFM.org. So go on there and hit shows, scroll down through dozens and dozens of wonderful shows, and you'll find Pass the Hat, and the last 9 years or so of our shows are archived there. But in addition to that, for the last number of years, Bob, you've been doing video streaming. Tell people how to find that, because we're streaming right now.
We're streaming right now. That's right. It's a live stream, so you can watch it live. High-def audio, that are high-def broadcast audio married with high-def video. But in addition to watching it live, those shows are archived after they happen. So on Facebook and YouTube, two of our streaming services, they keep those things forever, or as long as those services exist. So you can watch this thing live and then go out there and scroll through years of previous shows and catch all of those previous live recordings we've done. Just a great archive.
So if you've been listening on the radio, you might consider going on Facebook, look up Pass the Hat, and that's where the live stream is right now.
Same on YouTube and Twitch at WHUP Pass the Hat, Whoop Ass the Hat. And we're here this evening with Russell Henderson, RussellHendersonMusic.com. That's 2 S's and 2 L's in Russell. Otherwise, Google will say that website doesn't exist.
I thought it was smart enough it ought to know Russell by now and just take you there regardless of how you botch the spelling.
Well, if you botch the spelling, it should take you directly to Alvarez Guitar's site.
Yeah, there you go.
I would hope so.
Russell, interested and really appreciative of you talking to us about, you've got all these snippets of songs hanging around, some of them written down, some of them in your head, and but it seems that you don't force them to come out, which is, I think that's wise, to just let them emerge or sit back on the shelf as they will and give them time. Is that what you do?
For the most part, I try and just let them hang out until they come out on their own. My wife will tell you that sometimes I try and force them, and it usually is not a good thing.
Yeah.
If I try and force something out, it will come out and it will be very, very lame. So I've got this wonderful chorus, this beautiful little melody. And then, the verse is just not there, right? And so I have like a first line. She wakes in the morning, pulls the blanket over her head, says, I'm not ready to face the day. Last night was hard, drank a little too much, tried to bring a little color to the gray. She downs a bottle of Buffalo Trace and says, all these dreams I've chased, well, they're still out of reach. Oh God, won't you help me get out of this place? I never asked you for anything, please give me this. And I won't ask you for anything. No, I won't ask you for any more. And then I try and write the second verse to it, and it comes out like, it's freezing outside, and the car won't start, and there's something about breaking a heart, and I'm trying to rhyme words that just like fart, and it just doesn't do the song any justice whatsoever, and so I will just let them sit, and I will continually reattack the verse over and over again until something comes that makes sense and does justice to what I've already got.
Kind of fun when it does come, though, right?
Oh, it's wonderful when it comes. Because sometimes they come easy and sometimes they come hard. That song's been hanging around for 6 months, and the chorus, I felt it from the moment. And I know the character. I know exactly who she is and what she's going through in her life, and I want to represent it right. Mm-hmm. And
Bob, I thought if we just stayed really quiet, maybe
it might happen.
The next one would happen right
it would
here.
Just pop right out. But it just sometimes it's really hard. It just doesn't want to come out.
So you're not a deadline kind of a guy. You can't say, well, I got to have a song by 8 p.m. tomorrow evening.
So I can do that. I've challenged myself in the past. I think the last time I was here was not terribly long after I challenged myself to write a song every single day for a month.
I think you said that, yes. But you were also rebuilding a Jeep at the time.
I was rebuilding a Jeep. I was doing all sorts of stuff. It was the pandemic. I had lots of free time on my hands. And so, I think I told you then that I was able to force myself to write songs and complete them in a single day. But out of the 28 songs I wrote that February, there's only a handful that stood up, that maintained themselves.
So that forcing them, I've got to get it out today, did something to them.
Yeah, just maybe they weren't as strong as they could be,
right.
and so they washed themselves off to the side. And there were a few that that came through just right. Maybe they were the ones that had the magic there, and everything came out right the first time. But
Do you go back and revisit them a year later and think, oh, maybe I can use half of this song? Or
I have for a couple of them, and sometimes songs that I've written long ago will just pop back in my head, and I'll start playing with them again and tweak them a little bit and see if they can't go somewhere different. That's the beautiful thing about songs. They're like children. They continue to grow up. And they change. They meant one thing to you at some point in your life, and they mean something totally different now.
Yeah, they don't have to be. You get in that whole philosophical argument of George Washington's axe. Well, I've got George Washington's axe. It's the same one he cut the cherry tree down with. Well, we've replaced the head 4 or 5 times and the handle 12 times, but this is the axe.
George Washington played guitar?
It can be the same with a song. It meant one thing when you first wrote it, but now you've brought it back into the fold and done so many things with it. Can you really say it's the same song? It's a new song. It's evolved.
It's evolved to a point where it lives on its own way, and it may have found its roots somewhere in the past. But if you change the words and you change the melody and you've changed all the chord progressions, is it really the same song?
Right.
Anymore? Yeah. So that happens from time to time. I don't live a lot in the past songs. I'm constantly trying to find new things, but from time to time they pop back in my head, and I'm like, wait, that's not a new song. I wrote that a long time ago, and maybe it just wasn't right, and it needs something new.
Russell, we'd love to hear a new song, an old song, any song you'd like to share.
Well, I will play the last thing that I put out on all the streaming services, the Spotify's and Amazon Music's, as a single in, I guess it was the tail end of 2022 now. I mean, I've been very, very short to get things out here recently. So this song's called Winter. And it was a song that I wrote during that songwriting session in February where I wrote a song a day, and this one stuck around. So here we go. There's a cold wind blowing in under the door frame. This chill reminds me you're not there. In the silent absence of your voice, you're lost but still so clear. This winter never seems to end. I wrote you 50 times, but I just can't hit send. Now here I am, I'm going off the deep end. I'm wondering if this heart can never mend. It's raining outside, it looks like snow. These clouds reflect the sorrow in my soul. With time and distance, these cracks, they lose their edge. They're gone, but still so clear. This winter never seems to end. I wrote you 50 times, but I just can't hit send. Here I am, I'm going off the deep end. I'm wondering if this heart can never mend. I'm wondering if this heart can never mend. These feelings crashing down in waves, words flowing endless to the page. Maybe one day I'll find a way to say I'm sorry. This winter never seems to end. I wrote you 50 times, but I just can't hit send. Now here I am, I'm going off the deep end. I'm wondering if this heart can never mend. never seems to end. I wrote you 50 times, but I just can't hit send. Now here I am, I'm going off the deep end. I'm wondering if this heart can never mend. I'm wondering if this heart can never mend. It's raining outside and it looks like snow.
More Russ Henderson live here in the studio.
Russ, you talked about Spotify and Amazon. Is that so when people want to go out and purchase your music, how is it just Russell Henderson Music, or what are they looking for?
Yeah, so if you're on a streaming service, you can just punch my name in, Russell Henderson. There's two of us out there. One of them's like slow jazz from the 70s, and
Different
the other
guy.
one's me.
Yeah.
So look for the guy with the beard and the long hair in the picture, and that's me.
And you have a full record, Mudlarking, out there?
Yep, I did a record in 2021 called Mudlarking. That's out there, and then there's several singles as well as some of my older catalog of music from the 90s.
And new recordings expected anytime soon?
I have 3 separate songs that were intended to be released as singles in the past 12 months that are nearly done, and none of them have been completely done. I was in the process of building a new recording studio and had some landlord issues and had to put a lot of equipment into storage for a brief period of time, but that hopefully is working itself out here in the near future. So
Excellent.
I'll be able to get the studio back up and running and be able to finish off a couple of these things. I'm aiming to do an EP in the next couple of months.
It's nice to be able to do that in your own studio. So you can do it at your leisure and go in and out, bring other people in if you want, and not have to pay $100 an hour, Bob.
But also, it kind of points to something that Russell does already, is giving back to the music community. Having a recording studio is kind of a way of doing that. You're not just a musician out there playing, you have a recording studio, but you also host an open mic at State Street, and I've seen you running sound at various shows, like for John Gillespie recently, and I just think that's a wonderful part of being a more integral and engaged part of the music community, is not just playing music, but just being a part of the community in all aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. I thoroughly enjoy being involved in the scene in any way that I can. I run sound on a regular basis for other bands. I record people in my studio when it's up and running, mix and master songs for people who've recorded other places. And I went out just a month or two ago to the Eno House.
Love that
and,
place.
Was able to do a live recording for John Gillespie.
Oh,
which,
you're the one who did that.
So
Oh,
that will
wow,
be coming
great.
out very shortly.
Awesome.
John assures me he's going to get it up on Bandcamp here very shortly.
Yeah.
So very very pleased to get to record one of my heroes. So
And tell us a little bit about the State Street gig and the songwriters circle.
So I have a series that I do on the third Thursday of every month in Greensboro at a venue called State Street Wine. It's a very low-key wine and beer establishment. They have a big, nice outdoor back patio. But
it is patio season.
We have I do a series. I call it A Tale of Two Cities, and it's what I do is I try and find an artist, an original songwriter from somewhere else in North Carolina other than the Greensboro area, and bring them in, and we sit down and we just go in back and forth and trade off original songs for 3 hours, and get to expose people in Greensboro to somebody they may not have normally had an opportunity to hear.
Excellent. That sounds like a fun gig. And the next one is coming up.
It'll be April just can't do my math off the top of my head what for the third Thursday is. But
Third Thursday in April. That's all we need to know.
Third Thursday in April, and if I'm not mistaken, it is Elliot Humphreys who is going to be joining me.
Great.
We know Elliot.
Yeah.
So he's graciously decided to join me that day, and I'm working on filling up some more of those for the rest of the summer as well. So
Fun. It's a great idea for a songwriter engagement too. Is insist on someone being from out of town.
bring in somebody different.
Russ, we want to get as much of your fine music in as we can in the next 14 or so minutes. So maybe we ought to stop jabbering and give the floor to you, and whatever you'd like to play, it'll be wonderful.
All right. Well,
I can't believe you just said I was jabbering.
I was talking about myself.
So this is a song. It's called "Thinking of Me." So let's do this. Kelly said I've lost something that I can't see. I've been trying to find myself, but all I found is me. I wanna dance across the silver screen. I'll leave you lying there, haunting all your dreams, thinking of me. Kelly said there's something wrong, but I don't know what she means. I've been trying to save myself, but I'm failing at the seams. I wanna dance across the silver screen. I'll leave you lying there, haunting all your dreams, thinking of me. Thinking of me. Time goes by, and I don't know who I am anymore. Daylight comes, as darkness falls, and here I am on my own, thinking of me, thinking of me. Kelly said there's something wrong, but I don't know what she means. I've been trying to save myself, but I'm failing at the seams. I wanna dance across the silver screen, leave you lying there, haunting all your dreams, thinking of me, thinking of me, just thinking of me. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Yay. I think Kirk's right. We've been doing way too much talking, and we could just spend the next few minutes listening to Russell Henderson music if you want to just keep playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have something you want to talk about, we could have a side conversation, but I like the music.
Yeah, so this song's called A Bottle of Bourbon.
Oh.
All right, then.
I am lying here, holding on to her in my favorite but fading photograph. And her fragrance still remains on the pillow. I can't change, 'cause if I did, this all might be real. Then she is gone, and I'm still here. I'd have never guessed that it could end up like this. She told me not to fall in love, but I guess I'm not that smart. So here I am, a bottle of bourbon. When I reach the bottom, it's the start. I cannot recall, though try as I might, the moment this all went wrong. And all that I can hear is the strain in her voice when she said, I think we need to talk. Then she was gone, and I'm still here. I'd have never guessed that it could end up like this. She told me not to fall in love, but I guess I'm not that smart. So here I am, a bottle of bourbon. When I reach the bottom, it's a start. I'm drinking for a memory. I'm drinking for a memory. This bottle of bourbon, when I reach the bottom, it's a start. And I'd have never guessed that it could end up like this. She told me not to fall in love, but I guess I'm not that smart. So here I am, this bottle of bourbon. When I reach the bottom, it's a start. I'm drinking a memory. I'm drinking a memory. This bottle of bourbon, when I reach the bottom, it's a start.
Russell Henderson singing one of the saddest songs ever. It mentions the end of a bottle of bourbon.
Do you always take that last bit at the bottom, Bob, or do you leave it there?
Interesting. I always, there's nothing left in the bottle. But I have a friend who has been advocating for every time you open a bottle of bourbon, no matter the bottle of bourbon, is you leave a little bit in the bottom and then you pour it into another bottle, and you're mixing up all these little bits of leftover bottles. So over the months or years or days, depending on
It's
how
like
fast.
Meritage wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's called an infinity bottle.
An infinity bottle. Yes.
Yes, I do that. I love that. That's one of my favorite things to do. I have 3 infinity bottles. I have a Scotch infinity bottle, a bourbon infinity bottle, and then a Canadian whiskey infinity bottle. So,
Yay.
Eh? Russ, we've got one long song, 2 short songs.
I'm going to play one more song for you guys, and then we can go from there.
All right, it's your show. You can do whatever you want to do.
So this is probably one of the older songs. This song I wrote in 1995, 1996.
It's an old one.
And I don't play it a ton. I've started playing it a lot recently, but for a long time I didn't play it, and it's called Fade Away. Is this the grain of my skin, lines redrawn on an empty page, strikingly resistant in the shimmering hour? I could not be all you wanted me to be. Why don't you all just fade away? I never want to feel you again. Why don't you all just fade away? I never want to feel you again. And in my head I am wasting away all the colors, they bleed to gray. And as I lay myself down into my dreams, I know I'm not all you wanted me to be. don't you all just fade away? I never want to feel you again. Why don't you all just fade away? I never want to feel you again. Why don't you all just fade away? I never want to feel you again. Why don't you all just fade away? I never want to fall in love again.
Y'all have been listening to a fantastic hour of Russell Henderson live here on WHUP's Pass the Hat. We're getting to the point of the show where we're going to turn off the live stream, but you do not have to stop listening. You just have to stop watching. The live stream will end, but the radio broadcast will continue. You can find the radio broadcast at WHUPFM.org. Hit the Listen Live button and then hit the play button, and you'll hear it. Or you can find us on the TuneIn app or various other places. Or if you happen to be in the footprint of Hillsborough at 104.7 FM. How about that? But at this point, Russ, wave goodbye to the crowd.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.